In Dragon Ball Super, in the most recent universe survival arc, we have been introduced to fighters from Universe 9. And these fighters are known as the Trio D Dangers. And they were certainly presented as the most powerful fighters of their own universe. A team of 3 anthropomorphic wolf beings who have very powerful abilities. But just how strong are the Trio D Dangers? Well, today GeeklistTV TV and I are going to be breaking down just how strong we believe that they are. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel to stay up to date on all upcoming videos in the future. Okay guys, so today we're going to be breaking down one by one each member of the Trio D Dangers, and we're going to be analyzing how strong we believe they are in Dragon Ball Super. So MJ, first off, we are going to be starting with the first fighter from that team. And what was his name, and would you like to give a little bit of background on him?
Yeah, his name is Basil, and he is Basil the Bullet Shoe. Basically, it's not really an ability, but I guess his special trait is that he's able to kick. You know, that's all he does. You know, he has his arms folded, which I think is kind of badass, and he basically just kicks and kicks, and that's kind of cool in my opinion, but he's probably going to be the easiest to scale, bro, to be honest, out of the other brothers. And do you want me to kind of just give my quick assumption of how strong I think he is?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay, now you got to break down, there's 2 different versions of Basil, but the first one here that I'll give off my assumption on is basically, I'll just say skinny Basil is probably around, let's say, Majin Vegeta level, just because of the sense that he was taking it to Boo, and it took Boo to get serious to kind of defeat him. Like, it took him accidentally hurting Satan for Boo to kind of, like, just amp it up. You know, he did the whole steam, and he did overall seem to get more serious than he did against, like, Majin Vegeta, or against, like, Supreme Kai, or the Kaioshin, or Super Saiyan 2 Gohan from the Boo arc when they fought him. So the fact that he got more serious against Basil, and the fact that he just ransacked him proves to me that he had to be just a bit more of a threat, because he did take the beating. You know, like when you look back in Majin Vegeta or just a Super Saiyan tier opponent, they were literally beaten up, you know, like blood everywhere. Yeah. They got completely demolished. So
yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to that first form of skinny Basil, as you refer to him, I would have to say that even though it is difficult, because for the vast majority of that fight, Boo was just playing around, he wasn't taking it really seriously, he seems to put up pretty much the same level of output of power as Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta in terms of how much damage he was dealing. He was able to, like, straight up damage Boo in ways that, you know, Vegeta himself was able to, maybe even to a lesser degree. So that to me makes me feel like he's around that level. Of course, there are a lot of people who think that the Fat Boo, after he is spit out of Kid Boo, is actually weaker than the Fat Boo that Goku and Vegeta fought at the beginning of the Boo saga, or around the period that he was released. I don't think there's necessarily any real proof to suggest that, but even if we want to say that he's like half as strong, or, you know, maybe he's a little bit weaker, we don't know to what degree. So I think that the Super Saiyan 2 Majin Vegeta is not too hard to say that Basil might be around.
Yeah, even if you don't want to say he's Majin Vegeta level, you can just scale him to say that he's Super Saiyan 2 tier, you know, like around that level.
Yeah.
But, Mike, he was given a drug. We don't know what it's called, but that's exactly what they call it in the show. Beerus literally says, hey, no drugs are allowed. They literally gave this dude a drug on screen that kids watch, a show that kids watch. So he took a drug, he powered up, and I'm pretty sure you like this moment, Mike. He got huge, and this guy literally did not skip leg day. The first thing that pumped up was his legs, and then his body, and then everything just got huge, and then he literally went toe-to-toe with Boo. They were going at it, fast-paced, fast-paced action, just like you would see in Dragon Ball Z. They were going at it, and he actually seemed to get the upper hand here in this little scuffle. He was pounding Boo's face in, and then he went in and did, like, I guess, like his finishing move. For the life of me, I cannot remember the name of the technique, but it was similar to his first one, where he fires Ki Blast, or Energy Blast, I should say, since we could not sense energy from these characters. He fires Energy Blasts from his feet or from his legs, and literally just leaves Boo in the dust. However, though, Mike, Boo does regenerate, and he has to use a full power attack stated by Gohan, Goku, and the others on the sidelines, and that full power attack was the downfall of Basil. But that's pretty darn powerful, bro. That Fat Boo was forced to use a full power Kamehameha.
Yeah, absolutely. And before he does that, Boo pretty much comes up to Basil and he's like, "You're strong, but I'm even stronger," and he fires that attack, and Boo, Goku, and Gohan are all kind of shocked that Basil is not either like completely evaporated by this attack, or he is still standing, but pretty much it was too much for his body at that point, and he collapsed. Now, it seems like maybe the Supreme Kai of Universe 9 might have stolen one of the fruits of the Tree of Might from Turles, from, the Tree of Might movie, and that's what he gave to him. Now, it's kind of difficult to even determine what the boost in that movie is, but I doubt it was a gigantic amount. So I would put him a little bit weaker than Majin Buu, but the fact that he was able to take that blast before passing out shows me it might not be that big of a gap.
Yeah, you could probably say he's even relative to him, because if Boo did not use that full power attack, who knows how long that fight would have went on,
Pack is back, cause I'm mass destruction. Guess who's here? The bad boys of wrestling. Testing competition.
So getting into the next one, I feel like this one is really going to be the hardest one to scale here. The beginning and the end are kind of relatively easy by comparison, but this one I feel like all comes down kind of to how strong his opponent was, and that would be Lavenda. Now, in regards to him, he fights a Gohan who, it's really arguable how strong Gohan is right now, and not only is he able to fight Gohan, he's able to poison him with his own special kind of poison technique, and Gohan is able to combat him as a base Saiyan, but on top of that, Gohan transforms into a Super Saiyan, and when you see that fight between the two of them, even though Gohan is being more and more affected by the poison, especially because he's doing that interesting tactic where he's reflecting his own energy off of Lavenda in order to find him when he's blinded, it seems like Lavenda is still able to kind of throw some hands and is still able to block and, punch back against a Super Saiyan Gohan who should be 50 times more powerful than his base at that point. MJ, how powerful would you say that Gohan is in terms of that fight? And do you think that this would put Lavenda arguably above Fat Boo, and I guess, maybe above other forms of Boo that we've seen in the past?
Well, I guess really the only way we can look at this is going back to the ROF arc, and I mean, there's been so much controversy on how you want to scale Gohan throughout Dragon Ball Super. His power kind of fluctuates, but the one thing that we can just kind of rely on is the fact that Gohan's base was stronger than Piccolo. His base was stronger than Piccolo in the ROF arc, and as if Piccolo was comparable to the Cell Juniors and the Super Saiyan Vegeta and Super Saiyan Trunks and the Cell games, because like Super Saiyan Vegeta and Super Saiyan Trunks, he was the only person standing up other than Super Saiyan Vegeta and Trunks. Everyone else is knocked out, so you can kind of say he was in that ballpark of power, and Piccolo trains every day, all the time. So, I mean, we can only assume how strong he's gotten. So the fact that Gohan's stronger than Piccolo in his base form, you skip forward to the Universe Survival arc, and now time has passed. We're talking about a year since the Universe 6 or Universe 7 tournament when Goku fought Hid, and then we can even assume 9 more months have passed because Bulma's pregnant now, with a big belly. So months and months have passed, and we don't know if Gohan's been training off screen. We don't know if he's been keeping up just steadily with his routine or something with Piccolo, but he fights Lavenda, and they seem to be going at it. And do you think it's safe to say, bro, that maybe Lavenda is comparable to Basil? Do you think, because correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't Lavenda kind of like call Basil kind of like a chump, or he was like, oh, that stupid Basil or something, that for him losing? Could that maybe incline that maybe like he may be above Basil in a sense?
I feel like just the positioning of how these characters go is kind of representative of their power. I mean, Gohan is kind of presented as the second most powerful member of that three-man team. He was the first one that Goku went to go see if he would join after Vegeta, which to me shows that he believes Gohan is the second most powerful fighter on the Earth. And on top of that, I feel like he definitely has to be stronger than Basil, because, you know, he does so much better against a character as strong as Gohan. And Gohan, before he enters the ring, says to Goku, "Dad, please see how strong I am now." So again, the question is, are we going to count Gohan's training up until this point in other things we've seen in Super? Because with the Goku Black arc, they reference the Patafu arc, when Goku referenced how this is how I guess Vegeta must have felt when he saw a copy of himself. So, are we going to be counting Gohan train with Piccolo before the Universe 6 arc? Are we going to be counting Gohan sparring with Goku as a Super Saiyan? Because that's the biggest one to me, because if Gohan is even half as powerful as Super Saiyan Goku at this point, that should put him gigantically above Majin Buu or Super Buu or even Buuhan. So that would mean Gohan is more powerful than he's ever been before, and he turns into a Super Saiyan, and he doesn't just deatomize Lavenda with punches. Lavenda can keep coming a little bit, can keep taking these punches, and this fight comes down to the very wire. Gohan goes all out, and it's basically a draw. So to me, that would imply that Lavenda is maybe stronger than like all the villains in Z, like not counting, you know, Battle of Gods and Resurrection F.
Okay, look at it like this. Even if we don't count the whole Gohan training with Piccolo and like episode 30, that recap episode, even if we don't count Gohan and Piccolo again training in episode 67 when Trunks and them left, if we don't count any of that and we just say that Gohan has not done anything and we just assume he's stayed at the same level that he was in the ROF arc, his base would still be above Cell Saga level characters, and multiplying it by 50 times would still put him over Fat Buu. So
absolutely,
him being a Super Saiyan would still be stronger than Fat Buu, and then Lavenda was still, or Lavender, whatever you prefer to call him, was still able to go toe to toe with him in a sense. I know Gohan still had that. Okay, so we were talking about this off air about fights and how you can tell who's in charge of the fights. Even though Lavenda was keeping up, you can sort of tell that Gohan was in charge of the fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though he was poisoned, there was many times where when he was poisoned, he was literally blocking Lavenda's punches with ease. Now, people might say, well, maybe Lavenda wasn't trying. Well, you got to remember, you can make the argument he wasn't trying when he first threw that knee, but after that, you can assume he said, fuck it, I'm not going to play around anymore. And he was trying to hit Gohan, and Gohan was boom, 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 you know, doing the whole Bruce Lee, you know, just blocking everything. And then the same with a Super Saiyan, you know, he was blocking all those ki blasts, and Lavenda was getting sort of pissed. You know, he was like, you know, like just throwing ki blasts rapidly. So Gohan was in charge of that fight before the poison started to really take over his body.
Yeah, and another little interesting bit before we move on is that the next one we're going to be speaking about, Bergamo, is the one who mentioned during Gohan's fight against Lavenda that Gohan is someone that he'd be really wanting to fight. Which is interesting because he didn't seem to really say that about Majin Buu. So that to me would kind of imply that Gohan and Lavenda, or Lavender, whatever you want to call him, are both above the previous two fighters in the last fight.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So you're back on the wolf pack. So you're back on the wolf pack.
So moving on to our last one, who is probably going to be a little bit easier to scale than the past two, would have to be Crusher Bergamo. And MJ, you want to give us a little bit of background on him before we break him down? And I guess give your own estimate to how strong you think he is.
His name is Crusher, brother, and he's gonna crush you, man. Nah. But anyways, yeah.
Ooh, yeah. You can't last 3 minutes with Crusher Bergamo, brother.
Yeah,
I just did a combination of Macho Man Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan. I guess I was Mr. Satan for a moment.
You should have did Earthquake, bro. Should have did Earthquake.
John Tenta, rest in peace.
But anyways, man, Crusher Bergamo, he is someone who has a very interesting ability. It's funny because there's someone in a show called The Seven Deadly Sins who has an ability called the Full Counter, where he kind of takes punishment and takes everything that you give him and he gives it back to you tenfold or like twofold. I can't remember exactly what it was, and that's sort of exactly what Bergamo's ability is. You know, he kind of takes your punishment and your ability or your power and throws it right back at you twofold, which makes him in a sense sort of limitless. You know what I mean? That's a very cool power to have and a very cool ability to have, and it really put Goku in a corner for a little while. You know, not for the whole fight, for a little while. But I guess to scale him, to be honest, and people might not like this, but if I had to scale him on his own power, on his own absolute power, without actually taking Goku's energy, he would probably be below base Goku, bro, because of the fact that now they're going at it, they're sparring, and they did that. Man, dude, I love this episode because there was this cool shot where they did the camera angle and it was spinning around the tournament. I'm loving Super so much right now, dude. But they were doing this whole spin around. They're going at it, and Bergamo goes for that shot to the face, and Goku catches it, right? And he goes, "That's close." Now, people will say, oh, man, yeah, well, man, okay, he's equal to Goku. Well, no, not the case, because he goes, hit me, and Goku hits him, and then he takes it, and then Goku goes, well, how about this? And then he hits him even harder. So Goku wasn't even really trying in their first sparring session or in their first go, you know what I mean, when they were first throwing hands. So it would incline to me that Bergamo may even be weaker than base Goku. I mean, again, we don't know, but the fact that he jumped straight to his ability, and he didn't want to keep throwing hands with Goku may imply to me that he actually might be weaker than base Goku, which kind of makes sense because base Goku is really, really, really powerful right now. Depending on whatever you want to go with, he is really powerful.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it makes sense for Bergamo in some ways to be weaker in his own power than Goku's base form because of what you just mentioned. However, Goku does say at the end of their fight that he didn't get to really see any of Bergamo's power. He only got to see his own power used against him. But really, I don't think Bergamo was in Goku's league by any stretch of the imagination, even without going into his final form that Goku ended up doing, because it seemed to me like Goku was purposely pushing him, and I think they confirmed this in the episode. Goku is purposely making him stronger and stronger just so that he could get a better fight. And not to mention that Zeno had said, or Daishinkan had stated, that if Goku held back at all, they would erase him in an instant, which to me, I almost felt like Goku is purposely powering him up, so when Goku goes full power and fires his full power Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Kamehameha, he wouldn't just completely evaporate and vaporize Bergamo. Maybe he's trying to like save his life a little bit at that point, because if he was like still base Goku level and Goku then fired the attack at him, he'd probably have died, you know? He was way stronger. But I did really like Bergamo overall. He reminds me a lot of Sebastian Shaw, who is the leader of the Hellfire Club, and in X-Men First Class was played by Kevin Bacon, a really powerful mutant and foe of the X-Men, who is also has a very similar ability where you beat him up, but he takes all of the kinetic energy from your attacks against him and just gets more and more powerful. There was a really interesting kind of degree where Goku, when he goes into his Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken, is able to completely overwhelm and defeat Bergamo in that fight. So it seems like Bergamo does have a limit. Whether that has to do with God Ki being kind of different than regular Ki or not is up in the air, but in terms of his own power, when he's not sapping other people, I don't think he's really on even Super Saiyan Goku's level of power.
I think he found it out when he was a Super Saiyan because, and we'll show this on the screen, but when he's a Super Saiyan, he throws a punch at Bergamo's gut, and Bergamo like kind of goes, ugh, you know, and Goku's like, oh. So I think Goku was finding out that like he could hit him with so much force that his ability might not, I guess, maybe keep up with the force. So before his ability can retaliate and make him stronger, he may actually get knocked out, you know. So I think he kind of took advantage of that. And plus, once he became a Super Saiyan, and again, we'll show this on the screen, guys, he kind of was taking it easy. Like, he was just flying around. There's a scene where he has his arms crossed while Bergamo was trying to hit him. And I think at that point, Goku was like, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and go blue. I'm going to take him out with one huge blow here. You know, one huge Kamehameha, and that'll be the end of it, you know. But, in a way, I guess to sum it up, Goku basically fought his own power and won against it. I mean, basically, you know.
So they said Bergamo was limitless, and then Goku beat someone who is limitless. I guess Goku would beat Superman after all. Triggered! Uh-oh! Hashtag down below. But anyway, guys, this has been us breaking down how strong we believe the Trio D Dangers are in Dragon Ball Super. I know some people don't want to call them that. They like to call them the Dangerous Trio. I'm just saying what they said in the show. But let us know how powerful you believe they are down below in the comments. And of course, go over to GeeklistTV's TV's channel. Check out his content. He makes really awesome videos you're going to enjoy. If you haven't subscribed to him already, I feel like you should, because you're going to enjoy the content he releases. And if you like this video, subscribe to this channel as well, so you can see more content like this in the future. And as I always say, stick around, because there's a lot more to come in the future.
You know what they call the real Trio D Dangers? My biceps, my triceps, and my gigantic throbbing trapezius. I bet you thought I was going to say something else. Bye.